Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me for a visit to Acadia National Park, which is located on Mount Desert Island in the state of Maine. We'll get back to Frenchman Bay and the Porcupine Islands later in the video, but first we're going to hike down to the Bass Harbor Head Lighthouse. And as we make our way down to the shore, let's get straight into the park summary. Acadia National Park was established as Lafayette National Park in 1919. The park is very busy with almost 4 million visitors as of 2024. Features of the park include incredible rocky shores, historic lighthouses, pine forest, glacier-carved valleys with many freshwater ponds and lakes, and the signature feature of the park is Cadillac Mountain, which is the highest point along the eastern coast of the United States and is known for being one of the locations where you can see the first sunrise of the day in the contiguous US. And that's going to bring me to the inconvenient truth of Acadia National Park, which is that during the summertime, when most people visit the national park, the first sunrise in the contiguous United States isn't actually at Cadillac Mountain. The mainland's first sunrise during those months is seen over 100 miles north of here at Mars Hill Mountain in the far north of Maine. The time to see the first sunrise from Cadillac Mountain occurs after the fall equinox, and stick around until the end of the video where I will tell you exactly when to visit to make sure that you're actually seeing that first sunrise. Continuing with the summary for wildlife, there are coyotes and black bears here. We'll see a few birds in part 2 of our visit next week, and it does require a private tour, but from Bass Harbor you can go whale watching and go on puffin bird tours. As for weather, late spring, summer, early fall, temperatures will be quite mild here. In the wintertime, it does get quite cold, so unless you're specifically looking for winter activities, you may want to avoid visiting then, and cell service is good throughout the park, so you'll have no problems there. Unfortunately, on this morning, the clouds didn't do us any favors, but we could see just a little peek of the sunrise there. Now let's check out the Bass Harbor Head Lighthouse. Constructed in the 1850s, the light from the lighthouse is visible from nearly 13 miles offshore. We'll head back and take a closer look at the lighthouse. The lighthouse is a private residence for a Coast Guard member, so if you do visit here, please don't encroach on the property. We'll venture further into the park. Okay, so now we're over here at Echo Lake. Let's go check it out. Echo Lake, I believe, is one of only 2 places in the park that are designated for swimming. Many of the other freshwater lakes are public water sources, so you can't swim in them. This lake is freshwater, and basically in the summertime, the water here is going to be warmer than the ocean water over at Sand Beach, which again, we'll see in next week's video. It was a little windy and overcast on this day, but you still get a pretty good view, and it's neat to kind of see the early beginnings of the leaves changing color there. To our left is Beach Mountain, and there's a trail where you can get up there on those cliffs. We'll check out this beach cliff trail, and it says something about exposed rock and iron things, so we'll just see how crazy it is. It's only a half mile, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal to check it out, and you can always turn back. As you can see, the trail gets a little narrow here, and we'll take a quick look and then turn around and head on back. Now we're going to head to the Hulls Cove Visitor Center, and I think this will be a good time to review a map of the national park so we can get oriented. Acadia National Park occupies about half of Mount Desert Island. We opened the video way down here in the southwest at the Bass Harbor Head Lighthouse. Then our second stop, we were over at Echo Lake here. Over in the eastern section of the park, you can see Bass Harbor, which is the gateway community for the national park. Acadia only takes up about half the island, and so there are actually several other small towns on the island. The main loop of the park is marked in the magenta color. Unfortunately, there isn't a public domain map of the Island Explorer shuttle service, the free shuttle service of Acadia. Each of the icons with the bus denote a shuttle stop. From here, our next stop is going to be Jordan Pond. There we'll hike up to South Bubble to view Bubble Rock, and then we'll hike up to the summit of Cadillac Mountain, and we'll try for sunset up there. In this second video on Arcadia, we'll explore Otter Cove, Thunderhole, and Sand Beach here in the southeast of the island, and again that'll be released next week. Before moving along, let's zoom out. We're not going to venture to these other areas, but in addition to the portion of Mount Desert Island, there are a number of islands and also a peninsula that are also part of Acadia National Park. Over to the right, there's the Schoodic Peninsula, and then to the far southwest, you have Isle Ho, which is how I understand it's pronounced. Again, we won't be visiting those areas, but you're welcome to explore there if you like. Now let's hop on an Island Explorer shuttle and head over to Jordan Pond. Okay, so man, Acadia's a super busy park. I didn't even know you had to get on a shuttle and stuff like that, so I'm glad they have a shuttle because there's no way I could have found parking in any of these areas. So, alright, we're about to hit this Jordan Pond Loop Trail. Jordan Pond is an extremely scenic location here in the national park. Across the pond there to the left is the North Bubble, and then to the right is the South Bubble. We'll actually take a detour to hike the South Bubble as we loop around the pond. Yeah, so the number of people that can't figure out the little boardwalk passing kind of thing is sort of interesting. Common sense tells me that when you see someone coming from the other direction on this little boardwalk here, that the person closest to the passing spot or the pullout would scoot over and make room for the other person to pass, but there's a lot of people on the trail that had trouble with that concept. Maybe they had too much tea at the tea house. But we're not going to let that spoil these incredible views. Looking back across Jordan Pond, there's the Jordan Pond House, also referred to as the Tea House, which is a restaurant that was donated to the park by John Rockefeller Jr. And again, you can have tea on the lawn there. Across the pond from us is Cadillac Mountain. Another shot here of the bubbles and Cadillac Mountain. This area here was carved by a glacial retreat back during the last ice age. Jordan Pond is about a 3-mile trail and it's fairly flat except for when you come up on Tumbledown Cove. It's not too difficult, but you will have some uneven rocks that you'll need to navigate, but I thought this section of the trail here was actually pretty fun. Hey, if you're enjoying the video so far, I'd appreciate it so much if you'd please give me a like, and please consider subscribing if you would like to see more videos. And if you've been to Acadia National Park and you have a special memory or a great tip to share, please feel free to do so in the comments below. Thanks so much, and let's continue with the video. And now it's time to make that detour. Okay, so now we're gonna go see some sort of like balanced rock or something. This trail's taking me way longer than I thought. Hope we can still get everything before the end of the day. Or, you know, worst case scenario, boondock at Walmart, come back tomorrow. We'll just see what happens. We made it to the summit of the South Bubble. You can see I'm sweating, man, putting a lot of work for you guys. Here you get some incredible views. There's Bubble Rock. I think I may have called it Balance Rock. This rock was transported here by the glacier that carved this area. Again, across from us is Cadillac Mountain, and then the body of water you see there is Eagle Lake, and then behind Eagle Lake are the Mountain Desert Narrows. Just an incredible view.
All right, that's gonna do it for Bubble Rock. Now it's time to hike back down. Okay, we have to skip the going down part because of all the cussing involved. So Jordan Pond Trail, very flat, very easy. Hike up the Bubble Rock is a different story, so you need to be prepared for that one. All right, now let's get back to the bus and go to Cadillac Mountain.
On the way down, I had some knee tendonitis flare up, and that was a little uncomfortable, but we're not quite done with Jordan Pond. Working our way back counterclockwise, there's Penobscot Mountain, and we'll end our hike with the view from the Jordan Pond footbridge.
Okay, so got dropped off by the bus and we're starting the Cadillac Mountain North Rim Trail. I mean, I thought the intercom said the last bus was at 6:50, so hopefully I'll be okay. The bus driver told me his last bus was at 5:05, which would give me a little less than 2 hours to do this whole hike. So I think we're going to be a little bit expeditious about this one, just so we make sure I don't get left or anything. All right, so let's go. Cadillac Mountain, highest point in Acadia National Park. Let's do it.
You know things are getting serious when the backpack gets flipped around. Cadillac Mountain turned out to be a serious hike. There's a glimpse of Frenchman's Bay there. In total on the day, I hiked almost 14 miles, and so that's why I seem a little exhausted, because I was.
This is a real hike right here, boy. But this mountain will not defeat me. This is a hill, this is not a mountain. It's only 1,000 feet, man, 2,000 feet, something like that. I got this, man. We're gonna finish it out strong.
Now, hiking to the top of Cadillac Mountain isn't really that long of a hike, but I have to disagree with the people that say it's an easy hike or not a big deal. I was so glad when I finally reached the summit here. Once you make it to the summit, you are treated to an absolutely incredible view of Frenchman's Bay and the Porcupine Islands. It's unfortunate, you can see we just weren't going to get a break, and the clouds there are just going to completely block sunset, but I think the view is great nonetheless. And that's going to bring me to my overall recommendation and top tips for Acadia National Park. Acadia is absolutely wonderful, and it is a destination park. It's similar to the very popular Bear Lake area in Rocky Mountain National Park, to give you a comparison, but it also has the addition of the amazing views of the Atlantic Ocean. I rank Acadia as the 8th best national park in the contiguous United States, and in my opinion, it is the only eastern national park that is comparable to the mega parks out west.
Yeah, so that's a terrific view, but we got a bus to catch, so we got to get going, and I probably won't film too much on the way down. So let's go catch the bus and get back to the visitor center. Hopefully I can make it before dark.
So definitely find time to visit this park when you can. Getting to my top tips, to actually see the first sunrise in the mainland US from Cadillac Mountain, you need to visit here between October 7th to October 31st each year. You can see the first sunrise until early March, but the road to the Cadillac Mountain summit closes December 1st and doesn't open again until the following April. And it actually starts getting cold here in early November. So I think the 7th to the 31st in October would be the best window to visit. You also get peak fall colors then. You need a minimum of 2 days to see all the park highlights, but you could end up probably spending a week here to really explore everything. Cadillac Mountain, if the clouds would clear, is the best place for both sunrise and sunset. However, some good alternatives would be the Bass Harbor Lighthouse for sunset that we saw at the beginning of the video, and the South Bubble would also be a good spot for sunset or sunrise. In addition, pretty much anywhere along the coast is great for sunrise. For boondocking, I stayed at a Walmart in Ellsworth. That's a little ways outside of the park, and they still allow overnights as of the posting of this video. I have seen where some people have been able to find boondocking actually on Mount Desert Island, and if you want to try that, be my guest, but just make sure you double check that it's okay before settling in for the night.
Okay, we'll chime in one more time. That's an awesome sunset, isn't it? Well, maybe not awesome, it'd be better if the clouds, but hey, we got to see the sun light up the sky a little bit, right?
As we rush down the mountain, we do get a little bit of a light show here to end the day. Again, I'll have more for you in part 2 next week, including a beautiful sunrise. I appreciate everybody so much for watching, and I hope to see you then.
Okay, now we got to definitely catch the bus. So I made it back to the van. So fortunate I caught that last bus there. And I'm spent, man. I can't do anything at night or anything. So it's time to go boondock, and we're going to hit Otter Point and all that stuff in the morning. Yeah, have a good night.